Hello, and welcome once again to the Jazz Musician's Voice. Tonight I've had the great opportunity to present an interview I conducted with Benny Green, a really excellent pianist who came up in the 80s playing with the great Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, and he's played with Ray Brown, he's played with many others, the who's who in jazz, and he gave us a chance to sit down and talk with him after his performance at the Litchfield Jazz Festival. And he sat down with us right before he headed back to his native California. And I thought it was really nice of him to share about his experiences in jazz and share with us some of his advances and thoughts about the music. So please continue watching, subscribe to this series, and stay tuned for future interviews. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're blessed with a great opportunity to talk with Benny Green. We're back here in the backstage of the Litchfield Jazz Festival, where you just gave a great performance. Let's talk about your beginnings in jazz. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started playing the piano?
Sure. Well, I'll kind of combine talking about how I was introduced to this music, to jazz, and becoming interested in the piano, kind of together. My father was listening to great jazz records as I was growing up.
Wow,
Charlie
great.
Parker, Thelonious Monk, Ray Charles, Billie Holiday, Bessie Smith, the real deal. And we got a piano in our home when I was 6, and I was quite taken with it right away. But maybe not in a way that most young folks wouldn't be as well. Just the fact that without any knowledge, you can kind of pick your own low notes and high notes. And I kind of, I would go into a bit of a trance and just kind of escape into that world, just sitting at the piano, choosing my own notes. It was so great.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about the fact that I was already sort of being influenced by those records my father was playing in the house. But I would see an emotional thing take place with him, a kind of an energy exchange, because he would put on those records, the LP, and the sound would be going through the air into his ears, you know, through his mind into his heart, and he'd have this big smile on his face, and he'd be moving. And that was so cool, you know. Later, as I started to become more interested in the music, he explained to me, he said, the first thing my father said, he said, if you're interested in this music, he said, one thing you should understand, he says, this music called jazz is black music. My father told me that, and I'm so thankful.
That's amazing. Yeah,
yes, it's like the first thing he told me about it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad he did. And he said to me, that doesn't mean that other people can't enjoy it, appreciate it, play it. He says, but if you're interested in this music, he said, you should understand the culture that it comes from. And so I'm really glad that my father gave me that foundation, you know, so I could build my passion and curiosity and interest in this music, which will continue always from the ground up, you know, where it comes from and the culture of the music.
That's really great. I mean, that's unique that you got the opportunity to listen to such great music. I know there's some other great musicians who've also had that opportunity to be able to listen to such great music from a young age. You really get exposed thoroughly to the art form. When did you start taking lessons?
I asked my parents for piano lessons almost right away as soon as we got our piano, because my sister, who's 4 years older than I, she started taking lessons. But we didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, and my parents felt like, as young as I was, 6 years old, and our money being a little tight at the time, they were already paying for lessons for my sister Phoebe. They thought maybe my attention span as a 6-year-old wouldn't really merit them paying for lessons for me.
Sure.
So they saw after about a year went by, when I turned 7, that I was still at it every day with that piano. I was trying to write my own tunes at this point.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, they were simple, but still I was like I was going for it, and I still wanted those lessons. So my parents started me with, I won't call them classical piano lessons, but sort of like beginning child's piano lessons when I was 7. And that teacher did a wonderful thing. She noticed that I like to sort of vary the tunes each time I played them, and she telephoned my parents and she said, I think you should try to find a jazz teacher for Benny because he likes to improvise.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wow, that's incredible. You had a teacher that pushed you in that direction.
She knew that, she recognized that, and I thought that phone call meant I was in trouble with her, but actually she was liberating me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So then what happened next? You started playing, I'm sure, and you lived in California. So
right. Well,
did you get involved with a scene there?
Well, when I went into the 4th grade, because I was around 1st grade or so when I started my piano lessons. But when I went into the 4th grade, I started going to an elementary school in Berkeley called Longfellow Elementary School. And beginning at the 4th grade level, throughout the Berkeley public school system, there was a wonderful man named Phil Hardiman who passed a few years ago, and he would go from school to school, the elementary schools, the junior highs, all the way up through Berkeley High School, and he would teach us about jazz and lead a jazz group.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so that really opened things up for me when I went into the 4th grade and I met him and heard the kids playing in school, because up until then, without realizing it, I was kind of subconsciously associating the music with older people. My father and the faces on his albums, and I was a kid, but seeing kids my own age trying to improvise on a 12-bar blues, that kind of made a connection for me to get me to actually consider that maybe I could do this, and it felt so good.
That's awesome, man.
I didn't know at the time that was a privileged situation, that other cities in the world didn't necessarily have that.
Yeah.
That's how it was. And because Phil Hardiman led these bands throughout the different schools in Berkeley, on up to high school, the high school band was tight. And so some of us that were serious, we kind of had an early aspiration that we wanted to get really good so that when it was time, we'd be ready to play with the high school band.
Yeah. So you worked through that.
Through the ranks.
And now this kind of reminds me of what's happening at Litchfield. All these cats get a chance to work with each other in the jazz camp, and that's I was a part of that a long time ago, quite some time ago now. But yeah,
wow.
that experience, it's almost like you're on the road. You're playing all day.
Yes, sir.
Every day.
Yeah. So that was probably life-changing for you.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. So, when did you come to New York?
Well,
about coming to New York?
Sure. I was born in New York in 1963, and my family migrated westward, so I grew up in Berkeley, California, and hearing the records and our family getting a piano and me starting with the piano lessons and meeting Phil Hardiman, that all happened for me in Berkeley. So I would say by the time I was maybe 14 or so, it was quite clear to me this is what I wanted to dedicate my life to, maybe even at 13, somewhere in there.
Wow, that's a young age to get.
I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I was focused. Like, I wasn't really dating or hanging out much with friends. I was like listening to records and practicing and dreaming of playing with those guys.
It certainly shows now, man.
Thank you for saying that.
The top cats on the piano, man.
That's kind of you. Thank you. So I heard Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, and that really did it for me. They came to the Keystone Corner in San Francisco. I heard the band with James Williams playing piano, and I just visualized it. That's me. I want to be up there on the piano playing with Art, because Art would like lock his eyes in with the piano player. He and James, they'd just be grinning at each other. And Art would be playing. And I wanted to be in there. And so I realized, I put it together in my mind, like reading the liner notes on the old Blue Note records and just getting a sense of the history of the music. I realized that New York was where it was all at, the community, the organization, the concentration of the music. So I decided I wanted to move to New York. I was already freelancing around Berkeley and leading my own trio at Yoshi's every Thursday with a couple of older guys playing with me, bass and drums. And I finally just committed that's it. I gotta like actually make this move and stop taking gigs in the Bay Area and do this.
Yeah.
So in the spring of 1982, I was 19. My friend John ONeill, who plays the bass, he's older than I am. He was in his mid-20s at the time, mid-late 20s. He drove us across the country in his VW bus.
Wow, that's great. So that's your entrance in New York.
Absolutely.
And you did indeed play with Art Blakey.
Yes,
so.
it took me 5 years from the time I moved to New York to get it happening. What I would do is I had my little Walkman tape recorder. I'd sneak it in to the clubs, and I would go hear Art as much as possible and record the shows. And then in the day, I'd be practicing along with those tapes.
Wow, that's true dedication.
I was definitely devoted to this. I was on a mission to play with Art, be a jazz messenger.
Yeah.
So I started playing I was in the house rhythm section for the jam session at a club which is no longer in existence called the Jazz Forum at Broadway and Bleecker. Art lived around the corner, and the Messengers would play there when they were in town.
Yeah, that's great. So
I met Art's pianist.
Yeah.
His name is Johnny ONeill, and he.
Oh yeah, Johnny. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I run into him at Smalls quite a bit.
Oh, he's beautiful. Yeah, he's
Great
kind
guy.
of a genius. Yeah. Well, Johnny introduced me to Art right there at the bar at the Jazz Forum. And Art, he had this expression. He used to say, "See with your ears and hear with your eyes." So that's what he did. Like when Johnny introduced us, he looked me up and down. He was just checking me out. And he said, "How long you been in town?" So I told him whatever it was. I said, 6 weeks. I had my blue jeans and plaid flannel work shirt, sneakers. And he looked me up and down again. He says, "You need more time." Hadn't heard me play a note, but it was as if he had heard me. He just read me, scanned me.
Yeah.
And I knew he was telling the truth. I just kept practicing. Finally, it was either January or February of 1983. The Jazz Messengers came to the Blue Note, and Johnny ONeill said, "Art says you can sit in tonight."
Wow.
And in terms of knowing the tunes, I was ready. In terms of like experience, I was so green. But I did know those tunes. I knew all the arrangements. So Johnny motions to me when it's time on the second set, and I came up to the piano, and Johnny says, "Miss BC," that's the name of the tune, which was written by Bobby Watson's wife, Pamela. Now, if I hadn't been shedding with the tapes and with the records, that was on a record called Album of the Year from 1980, I knew it. I was ready in terms of the arrangement.
Yeah.
If I hadn't been, I would have been busted, right?
So I guess that's your recommendation to younger cats, because Russell Malone was saying a similar thing. If you know you want to play with somebody, study their stuff, learn the book, and be ready.
That's right. That's right. It's absolutely true.
It's great to hear from you.
And I want to say, personally, maybe not everyone would agree with this, but I feel like it's almost more important. Say, for example, if a young person wanted to play with me, I was talking with a young bassist, a student here at Litchfield earlier tonight. He says, "Next time I see you," he says, "I'm going to show you I'm serious. I'm going to know some of your tunes." And I told him, my tunes are written out. You can learn them. I could show them to you. I said, I'm more interested in your musicianship, that you can swing, you've got a good feeling, you can solo, you got good intonation, you understand harmony, you can play tempos. I said, learning my tunes, if you have those skills together, learning my tunes won't be that difficult. But I'd rather a young musician who wanted to play with me focus on their playing rather than just learning my tunes and having all kinds of holes in their musicianship.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the message I would want to give a young person. But when I played with Art, when I played with Freddie Hubbard, when I played with Ray Brown, those three bands, there was no written music. I had to learn that stuff from the records and the tapes. So in that kind of situation, yeah, you got to have the repertoire together and get up
useful.
there. Yeah. But for me, if a young person like wanted to play with me, wanted me to check them out, I would say, hey, let's play some blues, something, just so I could just kind of scope out their feel.
Yeah.
And if they felt good, then I'd have them read something. But just that they memorized the notes in one of my tunes, that wouldn't impress me so much, because jazz, the real feeling of jazz, it can't be written down on paper, right?
Yeah,
you gotta feel it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Definitely.
Sir. Yeah.
So I hope I'm not digressing from the original question.
No, that's
okay.
Great, man. And let's talk a little bit about, because the last time I saw you was a great performance in Williamstown, Massachusetts, at Williamstown Jazz Festival, a duo with you and Russell Malone.
Oh, so that's been a few years.
It's been a while, man.
Yeah.
It's been like...
You must have been 10
six,
years
6
old.
or 7 years. No, I was like 15 or 16,
Okay.
but it was inspirational. So tell me about your relationship with him.
Oh, Russell?
Yeah.
That's my man. I love Russell. He's my friend. We're both about the same age. And he is a great musician. He's a natural musician. He's very talented, and he works very hard. Both.
Yeah.
That's why he plays the way he does.
That's important.
And he's such, as a musician, he's so mature. He knows how to play for the ladies. He knows how to play for the musicians. Knows how to play for the older folks. He's the real deal, and he's self-motivated, as a serious artist must be. He works very hard. He listens to piano players. He listens a lot to singers. He knows so many tunes and songs. He's always learning more. He's not so ultra hip that he's only going to play something because of who wrote it. If it's a good song, Russell will play it, and I respect that about him. He's got great time. His time feel is like an old man. When I say that, I don't mean someone who's elderly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's old school.
Yeah, old
because,
school.
yeah, back in the day, anything that even made it onto a record could swing. Didn't matter if it was a black band or a white band. You know, up to a certain point in the music, anything that's even on a record, you could be guaranteed it had integrity. Nowadays, anyone can make a CD, of course.
Oh, yeah, now it's like...
it's open season, right?
Yeah.
But Russell, he's the real deal, and he's got time like those cats did in the 30s, you know?
Yeah.
He's one of the only guitar players I know of today that can really play the Freddie Green style. That's one reason everyone wants him on their records, a lot of vocalists, because he can lay that thing down. But there's so much more to him. I would hate to be a guitar player and take the stage with Russell, you know, and play some blues. You're gonna get cut. It's gonna be a bloodletting up there, and that's an aspect of jazz that Russell embodies, is he projects. I could go on, and I feel like I'm barely scratching the surface. But playing with Russell has helped me to be a better musician. I love and respect him dearly.
That's great, man. Yeah, I mean, he played. He just played for me during our interview last week. He played a great version of Sam Cooke's "You Send Me."
Mm-hmm.
That was really a beautiful rendition. And
Played solo guitar?
Yeah,
yes,
and
sir.
he uses harmonics in such a beautiful way.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys had such a chemistry.
Well, I just tried to stay out of his way. We don't do the duo these days.
I'd like to see that happen again.
I don't know, man. I only say that because I think it's right at this point that Russell is doing his thing with his band.
Sure.
You know, he employs a quartet, piano, bass, and drums, and I've heard that he's been doing some performances with just the trio, with no piano, with guitar, bass, and drums, which is hip. Russell can carry a show. I mean, for years I've been telling Russell Malone and also Mulgrew Miller, the great pianist, I could just hear them play solo, you know, because they got it all.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear just Russell play solo, because he's got the time, he's got the feeling, and he knows how to play for people. So I'd like to hear that one day. You know, I'd like to Russell do some solo recordings or solo performances. But you know what? It's up to him. Whatever he wants to do, you know, I know we'll be listening.
Yeah, definitely. So what's in the cards for you right now? What are some of your projects that you're working on?
I'm very passionate about writing music at this time. So the set we just played here at Litchfield was all originals. We played a Thelonious Monk tune for an encore, 52nd Street theme.
Yeah.
But it was all originals, and I just recorded a new album with Peter Washington and Kenny Washington, my dear friends and brothers. They're both masters of all original tunes of mine. That record's called Magic Beans, and it's coming out at the beginning of the year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and so that's a real passion for me right now, is writing music, and I'm not trying to seek to be so different in my writing. I want to be authentic. That's my personal calling as a player, is I've never really sought to somehow endeavor to become an innovator. I want to play with a real authentic jazz feeling. I want to play well, and I want to really keep the torch burning bright for real jazz.
Make your mark, yeah. Well, you're definitely doing it, man.
Thank you.
I've watched quite a few videos of your performances, especially YouTube is great like that. You can see stuff that you wouldn't have ever had a chance to see otherwise.
It's interesting that you say that. I was telling a friend tonight, with the advent and preponderance of YouTube videos out here now, I think more than ever, us musicians, we got to make every note count.
Yeah.
Because you never know when someone's getting you on their phone, right?
Yeah.
You're recording, you can edit and master that and clean it up.
Yeah.
But when someone just gets you in live performance on their phone, they put it on YouTube.
That's it.
It's raw. That's how
raw.
you played. You don't like how it sounds? Well, that's on you. That's how you played. So I liked it in a sense. It sort of levels the playing field, you know, and it's great exposure. So
Mr. Carter told me, he's like, Mr. Jonathan, every note counts. Every note.
Absolutely.
He just says every note. He doesn't even
Absolutely.
say counts.
This is Ron Carter?
Ron Carter.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah. But, where can people check you out in the coming months?
Well, as we speak now, I've just finished this enjoyable performance at Litchfield, and my trio with Peter Washington and Kenny Washington are going to the West Coast. We're going to open Thursday evening at Yoshi's, my hometown club in Oakland. I'm playing at the Napa Valley Opera House on this weekend, and you know, sometimes Peter Washington calls me a disengaged band leader, as much as I love the music, because I don't always think too far into the future about what my engagements are. I know we have some things coming up, and I'm trying to remember as we speak. I know I'll be at the Monterey Jazz Festival in September. Christian McBride's leading a band, and we're all going to do some writing. I'm going to contribute some originals, I hope, and the great Louis Nash is playing drums.
Wonderful.
He was my first big brother on the road when I joined Betty Carter in 1983. He was the drummer. He was just turning 25, and I just turned 20. And he was the first person to like just kind of show me the ropes on the road. So it'd be great to be reunited with Christian and Louis. And Chris Potter's playing saxophone. Ambrose Akinmuziers playing trumpet, and Dee Dee Bridgewater singing with us. So we'll be at the Monterey Festival. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We'll play at Monterey in September, and then we're going to do some touring this winter all around the country, all over, playing one-nighters. So I'm excited about that, and I'm going to be in Chicago, I think, in October with my trio, and then going on to Japan from there. But I apologize if my sense of my itinerary is a little sketchy. If anyone's
go to your website, right?
Exactly.
BennyGreen.com.
Right now, the current website, which I've had for a few years, we're getting ready to change. The current one is BennyGreenMusic.com.
Oh, okay.
But as of the beginning of 2013, my new site will be BennyGreen.com.
Great.
I got the domain back. Someone to claim.
Someone claimed it. Huh?
Someone did, yeah. They're pirating people's names, but So, but I thank you for your interest in the music and interest in what I'm doing, and so thank you for
so
your
much.
support.
Yeah,
My pleasure.
Thank you.